He promised to help us.
He stomps on the lizard and the voices stop. Does this mean the lizard was talking to him? Crazy. Aw man, he crashes the Interceptor so early in the movie. I was really hoping we'd see him drive that cool car around like in Mad Max 2. If for some reason they are harvesting his hair to trade or something, then why just let it drop on the ground? And why not use a blade to shave it off instead of actually giving him a nice haircut? It's a good thing that he heals fast, because that explains how his back is full of fresh tattoos, but his shirt is not soaked with blood when he runs around. For a world to be apocalyptic and crazy, you must, I repeat, you must have a latex scene. It just got real. Does this mean he always has to sit with his legs spread apart? That would make it quite difficult for him to sit in or drive a car later in the movie. Next time you hop in a car, try it and report back. What's the point of going there if you are late? No way those people on the back would ever have a chance to get any water.
Hey, careful! It's a universal donor!
There is no universal donor for whole blood, only for red blood cells. While Max's red cells would cause no problem because as they are type O, his plasma would likely cause a transfusion reaction because it would contain both A and B antibodies. So this whole concept of topping off probably would result in a lot of issues. Just because you're a badass tyrant, it doesn't mean you eat junk food. Maybe that's why he's Immortan Joe. You only get to live forever if you eat your greens. I imagine him at the end of a long day after pulling the water lever, sitting down with his wives and eating a nice vegetable soup. The secret combination of the safe door is spin clockwise as fast as you can. So they had access to at least one gun while in the safe. Couldn't they have just killed him anytime they wanted then? The end. Earlier we saw only one lift operated by Thunderlegs, so who is running all those other lifts? He's such a joker. So over the top and crazy ridiculous that it's awesome. I know he's rallying the troops with his guitar like a drummer, but not only is he blind, but he's gotta be deaf too from being so close to the speakers and he just plays and plays and plays. Does he ever get tired? Gas is really hard to come by, but everyone drives gas-guzzling monster trucks or souped-up cars that have flames blowing out of their cars. I don't quite get how this strap works. Was it a chain or a hole? Either way, the chain that gets caught on the car disappears on the next shot. The blood tube going down the chain from Max towards Nux is gone. The marine compass on Immortan Joe's dashboard clicks as it spins. The compass free floats in an alcohol and water mixture or light oil and does not click. I doubt that Max will be able to hear anything Nux is saying since he's out in the storm. The amount of silver paint sprayed on Nux's mouth changes and comes off really easily when it's supposed to be car paint and should be hard to remove. Sandstorm that has been lifting cars and people off the ground doesn't move the flare off the ground. Water is just as precious as gasoline, but since they waste gasoline, they might as well continue the trend and waste water too. If they had actually put the water in some sort of container for drinking, then we wouldn't have a wet press contest in the desert. Somebody has been naughty on the side. I count 5 breeders, but only 3 chastity belts on the ground. You're probably thinking maybe the other 2 are on the other side of the truck. Nope, doesn't seem to be there either. Real black axle grease is really hard to come off. Obviously in the film they used makeup, and that is why Furiosa's face is almost clean after the fight with Max. Some people think that the chain that goes through the hole in the door magically comes off, but looking at it frame by frame, here is the hole in the door. Then Furiosa hits the door with the cutter and actually breaks the frame. Then Max is seen on the background fiddling with the chain, and that's how the chain came out. It all happened very quickly, so no wonder people thought it was a mistake. Where were they hiding those? They just came out of nowhere. When the war rig first passes through the canyon, one of the 2 flags on top of the tanker trailer is knocked off. Here we see just the pole, however later in the movie the flag is bent but back. The moment she yells "fool," the war rig starts moving, so that means that Max was already at the wheel and set the sequence to bypass the dead switch, but he had no reason to move out of the hiding spot since he could not see anything. Also, seconds later, she is running along the right side, but then slides under the truck from the left side. How are they supposed to clear the rocks? I didn't see any excavator with them, and those are some pretty damn big rocks. That's a whole lot of silver paint on his face that just disappears later. Maybe he used some gasoline to clean it up, then again maybe it was just the silver food coloring spray that came off. The chain is flapping around to his side, but when the shot changes, it is neatly on top of the crate, and looking at it more carefully, I'm not quite sure how it got stuck. You see her touching the truck's vertical exhaust pipe? Do not try that at home, you will burn your hands. Immortan Joe should have just kept driving the monster truck straight over her. There was enough clearance to drive past her without harming her, just like this other fool did it.
We need someone down the back.
I guess now that she met Nux and sort of fell in love with him, they don't need anyone down on the back anymore.
We've only got 4 for Big Boy here, so he's all but
4
useless.
bullets, right? There goes 1 shot.
You've got 2 left!
Crazy math in a crazy world, and this is why you should stay in school, but I guess there aren't any in post-apocalyptic Australia. Sure, go ahead and put your assault rifle right next to my ear and shoot. He'll remember this moment as the moment he lost his hearing. How many people can possibly fall for that damsel in distress trap in the middle of the desert? It just seems like she would spend weeks there until anyone showed up. On the other hand, if they have been doing this for a while and they kill or rob anyone that falls for it, then aren't they just as bad as Immortan Joe?
If we leave the rig here and load the motorcycles up with as much as we can maybe ride for 160 days.
Australia is about 4,000 kilometers or 2,500 miles wide at its farthest points. If they could drive 160 days, they could drive 2 times, maybe even 3 times that distance. Maybe they don't know how vast Australia is, but at least the older Vuvalini should have some idea, since one of them does mention there was a time when they didn't have to kill anyone. Aren't you supposed to spin the music boxes clockwise for them to work? Furiosa pulls the knife out, but then it is lodged on her side again in a later scene. If Immortan Joe's goons clear the passage from all those big rocks early in the movie, then for sure they can clear it from a few trucks and cars. It might be even easier since they would actually be able to attach chains and winches to the vehicles blocking the passage.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!